What's up, good people? Welcome to another live series. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I want to tell you right now at the top what I'm most impressed with is this is the third session that we've done. And I have been on time to everyone. My man Tony is in the house already. What's going on, Tony? No CP time here, ladies and gentlemen. no, thank you very much. I got my family clapping for me. No CP time. We are running on schedule. Here is what's happening. Kim, I see folks joining right now all over. Morning from California. That's what's going on. Kim, what's going on? I am right now checking LinkedIn because LinkedIn always tells me that I don't show them enough love. But what I want to do is tell you exactly why I have not been able to show LinkedIn enough love. And that is because with LinkedIn, I can't pull over comments on LinkedIn into my, I can't pull over comments into the actual stream, but I can see you. So just so you know, Tracy, I see you. Leslie, Don Napoleon, I see you. Dwayne, Daryl, Paulina from Los Angeles, I see you all here, which I will continue to check on. Here's what we're doing, guys. We are building now what I call a digital village. This is definitely a digital village. I had come on last week on Friday just to try to break the monotony of us living for the most of us in the world under quarantine. And I had a lot of messages of people saying, Paul, can you continue to come on? Can you continue? Come on, and just provide some levity and also some expertise in the day. And so what I've now done is, this is my third session, but I am now committing. You have my commitment right now. You have my commitment that where's my little banner? Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be on what I'm calling the Lockdown Live series. That's right. Here in good old London, I'm in London right now, officially 2 days ago. We're now under government order to be locked down in our homes. This is happening in parts of the United States. It will definitely happen probably in all the United States in the next coming days or weeks. You have other parts of the world, obviously, they're in lockdown. So we're in lockdown. Literally, the government has told us we cannot leave our apartment only for, It's for food, one exercise per day, and medical necessity, right? Those are the only reasons why we can leave. So we're locked down. And so what I've decided to do with this opportunity, because I do see it as an opportunity, is for us all to be able to connect and build together, right? That's what this is about. This is about connecting and building together. Now, how do we do that? Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on people who I respect, top experts on a certain subject matter so that we can discuss it for an hour, right? Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So because I am doing this for you, like literally, Carrie Johnson, I'm doing this for you. Carla McDonald, Tony, Leone, I'm doing it for you. What I need from you are, what are the topics that you want us to discuss? What are the topics that you're thinking about? What are the topics that you're up at night stressing over? Those are the topics that I want us to discuss so that we can basically give clarity to all of us. So if you have topic ideas and suggestions, please drop those in the comments. You can also direct message me as well. All right. So this is one reason why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want to shed some light, right? Give some direction in a moment of uncertainty, right? So that's why we're going to do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But then there's another reason. And this, quite honestly, could end up being the bigger reason. What I've noticed from streaming these, so once again, we're streaming right now live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and also on YouTube. And what I've noticed is that the community, the people who are joining in on these, are connecting, right? We're all connecting. Like I've seen literally people now get invited to a podcast because they commented here, or I've seen people connect and now work on a project together, right? I've seen someone actually get business as a result of commenting here. So I want us to look at this as a community, right? We're all one big community. So one of the things that I'm going to do at the top of every session is I'm going to do what's called Let's Connect. All right, let's connect. And here's how I want us to connect is right now, everyone who's watching. So I see all of you watching on LinkedIn. I see all of you watching on all the other platforms. Here's what I want you to do is on our last session, we had some phenomenal guests. And I'll never forget the biggest theme that came out of that session. And that is, it's very important for us to increase our social circles. It's very important for us to connect with others, especially now at this time. And one of the best ways to connect with someone is when you're experiencing a moment with that person. And then in addition, you have to keep in mind that there's something that you can help someone else with. There's always something that you could do to help someone else. And there's someone who can help you, right? So it's experiencing this special moment. And then there's something that you can help someone with, and someone can help you with something, right? So how do we manifest that right now? Here's what I want us to do. All right. This is a little experiment. Right now, everyone who is watching this, everyone on every platform, I want you to think about something that you would, so I want you to think about this. I would like to connect with someone who has experience in fill in the blank. All right. Fill in the blank. Think about, do you want, would you love to connect with someone who knows how to, maybe is a Facebook ads expert, or someone who knows how to grow a personal brand, maybe grow personal brand on LinkedIn, maybe someone who is knows about crisis management for a small business, maybe a recruiter at an HR firm, and you want to get some insight on your resume. Whatever it may be, I want you right now to start entering in the comments. This is where we become vulnerable, and it's through our vulnerability that we're actually able to connect with others. Is I want you to start entering in what are the expertise that you would like to connect with someone who, the expertise of someone that you would like to connect with, and use the hashtag Let's Connect. And the only reason why I say that is so therefore, when people are going through the comments, whether it's live now or on the replay, they'll be able to see, oh, this person wants to connect because on this particular topic here, I have that expertise. Let me connect with that person, right? So let's see it right now. Let's just see it work in action. Write down hashtag Let's Connect, use hashtag Let's Connect, and then include the expertise of someone that you'd like to connect with. All right, so let's see it. Let's see if it's working. So right now I see, okay, perfect. Like Carrie Henderson already says, Diana Anderson. Hi, Diana, this is on LinkedIn. I'm a personal fashion stylist. Let's connect, right? Enter in what the person, okay, here we go. Tony, this is a great example. Tony, let me pull yours up. The comments are going so fast. Tony Alexander says, let's connect. We'd like to connect with someone who knows how to pitch to the media pitch. So if you know how to pitch to the media, maybe you're a publicist, right? You're a communications officer at a company, you've pitched, maybe it's your personal brand, you've pitched, reach out to Tony. This is how we will get through this, right? What I've noticed for me personally is one of the best ways for me to alleviate stress is to give. That's exactly why we started this series, is I wanted to figure out how I could give, right? So think about the power of connecting with Tony right now and helping him through, right? I mean, think of the goodwill, think of the beauty of that, right? The humanity of that. So everybody start entering in areas where you'd like to connect. There you go. It's like right here, Mary Thomas says, let's connect. Transformational coach for women over 50. So Mary, I'm assuming you want someone who's a transformational coach for women over 50. Mary wants someone to connect with her that can do that. Loletta Dixon says, would like to work on personal branding, mature models. So if you have expertise in these topics, I want you right now to try to connect with folks. And wow, this is incredible. LinkedIn is going crazy right now. I see everyone. I mean, this is beautiful. Like this, I thought this would happen. This is absolutely beautiful. Now, here's the thing. I'm not calling you out, but I am a little bit. I don't want to see this. All right. No offense, Ton, but let me just say this is what I don't want to see. I don't want to see this is what I do. Let's connect. Instead, I want you to come at it from a place of vulnerability, right? To say, this is what I need help in, and then allow the people who have the skill to then connect with you, right? So all love, Tone, I'm just using you as an example right now, is be vulnerable. Include what you need help in. Include where you want the help. Allow the person who could offer that to you to reach out to you, right? So this is not advertising for your business right now, okay? Because now I'm seeing a lot of people saying, let's connect. I build brands. Let's connect. No. This is, I am coming from a place of vulnerability right now. Let's connect. For example, let me give you an example to show you how we all need help. On the last session that we did on social connection, what I realized is that I have been all over the place for the last 15 years. I'm reinventing myself every 2-3 years. I'm doing this one day, I'm doing this the next. I need help on strategy. I actually need help on personal brand strategy, right? So I would say, I need help on personal brand strategy. Let's connect. That's me being vulnerable. And then someone who has that expertise would then come back to me, right? So that's exactly what this is. This is boom. This is perfect. Mariana just said it. I need help with customer acquisition for product-based company. Let's connect. All right. You guys got it. You guys got it. I like it. I like it. Someone who could share information on creating a skincare brand. I love it. This is hot. All right. So this is working well. This is working well. I see on LinkedIn, someone saying I need help with my public speaking. Someone saying I need help with my personal brand. I love it. And now I see people connecting with them. I can help with that. So this is perfect. This is beautiful. I love it. We're growing the community. Okay. So now we've got that taken care of, which is beautiful. Let that continue to go. Use the hashtag Let's Connect. So therefore, everyone knows why you're actually entering that information in the comments. Okay, so boom, we got that taken care of. Beautiful. Now let's keep going. Let's keep going. So second ask. Okay, so that was my first ask. I have 3 asks here before we get going. The second is, right now, I see how engaged everyone is. Right now, please share out the stream. So on Facebook, share it out. On LinkedIn, share it out. YouTube, Periscope, share it out. And the reason why we want to do this is we want to grow our community. By growing our community, there's going to be even more expertise in the community, and that is going to then strengthen our community. So that's the idea. So right now, share it out. Everybody share it out. That's basically the cost of entry to the stream, is share this out, right? So that's ask 2. Ask 3 is to ask as many questions as possible, right? Our guests are literally, these were, with this particular topic, these 3 were the first 3 people that came to mind. And these 3 are people who I guarantee you're going to want even more time with. And so here's the reason why you asked the question. You pose the questions in the comments because a lot of the speakers have been coming back to the comments and then answering, right, for you. So make sure that you pose your question. I'll try to get to as many questions as possible, but make sure that you pose your question. All right, those are the asks. I think we got it. I think we're going. I like all the engagement I see right now. I like everybody's saying, there we go, there you go. I love it, I love it. All right, let's get it going. All right, let's get it going. So the topic that we're talking about today is survival tips for your relationship, in particular, your relationship with your partner, right? It could be a boyfriend, girlfriend. It could be a husband, wife, right? It could be a roommate. It could be family members. It could be children, right? That you're in lockdown with, or maybe you're soon to be in lockdown with. And the reason why this is such an important topic is because, you know, at least from what I've seen, is it looks like it's doomsday. The media is telling us divorce rates are going to go up, and there's going to be all kinds of breakups, and we're going to generate all these psychological issues as a result of the lockup. And so today's session is about what we can do to survive this. And not only survive this, but what we can do to come out stronger on the other side of the lockdown with our relationships. And so we have 3 phenomenal guests. And I want to bring on each guest individually and do a quick one-on-one before we get into the panel discussion. So let me get right into the intro on our first guest. So our first guest is Dr. Wendy Walsh. Now, in my opinion, Wendy is a superhero, right? And if you just research Wendy Walsh, Time Magazine Person of the Year 2017, you'll understand why I believe she is a superhero. But then on top of it, she's a psychology professor. On top of it, she's an Emmy Award winning journalist. On top of it, she really is America's relationship expert. Like, she is phenomenal, but she is incredibly kind. She's someone who I highly respect. I'm honored that she's on. So I want to bring on everybody. I want to applause on this. I want everybody to shout out Wendy when she comes on. Let's give a Lockdown Live round of applause for Dr. Wendy Walsh. Here she is. Here she is.
What an introduction, Paul. I had a tear in my eye. That was so
Well, I tell you, Wendy, it's an honor to have you here. I know everyone is excited about this. I can see already, it's interesting. I can see now questions starting to come in for you. People have said, forget about the Let's Connect thing. Now I have questions for Wendy. But
well, don't laugh, but I was very busy. I don't know if you noticed, my head was down looking at my phone because I was on LinkedIn. There's a gentleman who's following you who wants some advice on public speaking. I told him I would give him a free session because I train executives all the time on how to do media. But then I posted, hey, let's connect. I need to know how to edit iMovie better. So if somebody wants to just give me a little tutorial for 30 minutes, because my teenager has lost patience with me, trust me.
That's interesting. Wendy, did you get a response back on the editing assistance for iMovie?
I haven't looked yet. There's so much stuff there. I will get to it in a minute, but hopefully someone will respond back to it. I just need a 30-minute, let's Zoom together. I'll share my screen. Just show me how to add some graphics. I don't need to do anything fancy.
Yeah, I'm sure now you're going to have 500 people reach out already and say, look, Tony already says, look at this already on Facebook. Tony says, I got you, Wendy. So there you go. So, all right, I love it. I absolutely love it. So Wendy, I have a question for you. And I wanted to start off with this particular question because we are seeing a lot of doomsday predictions. And what I love about you is you're in the science and you're very aware of trends. So given the current state of lockdowns, what are some of your big predictions of what will happen as a result? So what will happen to our relationships as a result of the lockdown?
Well, before I give you my predictions, I want to remind everybody what an intimate relationship is. It is an exchange of care. That care can take so many forms. Of course, it can be emotional care. It can be instrumental care if someone's sick. It can be financial care, sexual care, domestic responsibility care. There's so many ways that we exchange care with each other. And although I'm talking about it in a way that might feel transactional, I promise you that unconsciously you're quite aware of what you're paying and what you're getting back, right? We just don't talk about it because it's not sort of socially correct. So when I look at the data from another big tragedy, which was in 1989 in the southern part of the United States, we had Hurricane Hugo that hit. And psychologists rushed to collect data after that event. And what they found is that in the hardest hit areas where people suffered the most, losing their homes, death of family members, etc., they found that there were far more divorces in the year following. They also found, though, that there are more marriages than anywhere else. They also found that there are far more babies born. So what this kind of stress creates for us is an evaluative moment on our relationships. It makes us go, okay, like he was good on paper and he's great to take to parties and he has a good job. But, you know, when the chips are down, is he or she going to, or they going to be the person who I can depend on? Great example. I have a friend who married late in life. She married for the first time at the age of 50. She's been married 5 years and always was sort of mistrusting of relationships. Now that we're in this time and they're on lockdown, and she and I try to walk early in the morning before there are any people out. That's our sneaky trick when it's dark. um, and she's been saying to me on our walks, man, my husband is amazing. He is cool as a cucumber in this. He's so calming when I'm upset. I really realize that I married the best mate. Mm. So for many people, they're going to really see the value of their mate in terms of emotional care and instrumental care when you've got a house to take care of and kids to take care of.
Wow. Wow. So I hear you saying here, right? So we will see a year from now, you think we will see more divorces, but we'll also see more marriages, more relationships come as a result. And then we'll definitely see a lot of babies.
Well, because there's nothing better to alleviate stress than sex, of course. Lowers your cortisol levels, it's a calming effect, and maybe you can't get to the drugstore to buy those condoms.
And can I say this? And my wife is sitting right here. She just put her hands up like this. I have to say this. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. And now my boys are looking too. I would love for there to be a baby that came out of the London lockdown here at the Brunson Health. She already said no thanks. She said no thanks. Are you serious, Joe? Yeah. All right. But I hear you. And I completely agree. So thank you, Wendy. We're going to bring you right back. I'm going to bring on Esther. We'll bring you right back. So everybody, she's coming right back. Wendy's coming right back. Next up, we have Esther Boykin. Esther is a dear friend of mine. I mean, she's a licensed marriage and family therapist. On top of it, she is the founder of a psychotherapy practice in the DMV called Group Therapy Associates. And if you have watched The Real Housewives, chances are you've seen her. And she's not the one kicking off acting crazy. She's the one trying to calm down the crazy. This is none other than my dear friend, my wife's dear friend. This is Esther Boykin. Everybody say, what's up to Esther?
Hey, everybody.
All right. We've got to look at this. So, Esther.
Yeah.
I'm trying on the baby thing, but Jill is just not happy.
No.
All right, so let's move on. She's telling me to move on. All right, so Esther, so clearly we have an issue here in our lockdown, right? But what I wanted to ask you is, where do you think some of the opportunities that we may be missing, right? Because we hear so much doomsday, this is going to happen. Yeah. Although Wendy just gave us a nice, hey, there's going to be more marriages that come of this. But when we're in this lockdown right now, what are some opportunities that we could be missing to actually build with our family, friends, significant others?
Yeah, so I think there are a couple of main things that immediately come to mind. I'll start with, Wendy said, it's an evaluative moment. And so it's not just evaluative for relationships, it's evaluative for yourself. And I think oftentimes when you're in a relationship with another person, especially over time, we tend to focus on checking into what the other person is doing or not doing. And we don't spend enough time really reflecting on, am I being a good partner? What do I need during this time? Especially when we're faced with uncertainty and anxiety, we focus a lot of attention outwards as a way to sort of minimize our stressful feelings. And so this is a really great time to actually turn a little bit inwards, because you do need to take a break from each other. And then it's also a chance to stop running from conflict and disagreements. So many couples ask, how can I prevent the conflict? How can we avoid a fight? And how about we just decide it's gonna happen? How can we become closer, stronger, understand each other better on the other side of the disagreement? Which I feel like, you and Jill in this baby conversation, you're gonna have plenty of opportunity for that. And the last thing I always wanna point out for couples or anybody in stress is there's always opportunity for more fun, more playfulness. I mean, Wendy already kind of mentioned, sex is great, but all of the things that in the hustle and bustle, when you're commuting and the kids are in school and you're kind of at this very strict schedule, we let go of play and fun. This is a great time to be well, what did we do when there was a snowstorm, or when we weren't on such a tight schedule and we didn't have to be all these places all the time? What can we do to have just be a little bit more playful with each other? And whether that's a romantic relationship or a roommate or whoever, how can we have more fun?
Yeah, I like it. I'll tell you what, number 2 really resonated, right? And it's me thinking about so many friends and family members around, hey, this is basically, you can't run anymore. You shouldn't be, right? A healthy you shouldn't be, right? So this is forcing you, and connecting with Wendy's point, this is like this moment of spotlight, right, in all of our lives.
Yeah.
So, Esther, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Jill, we have to confront our issue. All right, let's do it. Let's stop running from it. Okay. See. Okay, she said tonight. It stops. All right. So, thank you. See,
good luck, Paul.
Thank you. All right. So everybody, think about it. Esther's coming right back. She's coming right back. All right. So I want to bring on the last member of our amazing panel. This is a really good friend of mine. He goes by a transformational relationship coach, but quite honestly, Gary, in my opinion, or should I say Dr. Gary Salyer, is one of the most insightful relationship experts that I've ever met in the world. He is such a phenomenal person. And then I always add, and he's kind, right? And this is the kind of the through line with Wendy and Esther's and Gary's. They're all incredibly kind people. And so it's an honor to have my man, Gary Salyer.
Hey, my man, Paul. How you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm good. It's good to see you.
It's great to see you. What's that?
I say it's good to see you doing your thing. This is you.
This is me, man. This is me. This is and if anybody's out there, my support team's down. I want to still send emails. I need help learning how to send an email in Entreport. I'm just saying, it's like I'm going to learn it. But
okay.
I love what Wendy said, and it's just been amazing, just amazing what's been shared so far.
Yeah, very insightful. I think the discussion is going to be on fire. But since I have you just one-on-one, there is a burning question that I have.
Yes.
So here in the UK, just 2 days ago, as I mentioned at the top, we just went into lockdown.
Yes.
I communicating with friends and family back in the States, I see that lockdown is essentially coming, right, to many folks in the States. And most countries throughout Europe, right, are under lockdown. But there's a discussion right now happening with a lot of people as to who do I want to be locked down with, right? I have a little bit of opportunity. Should I ensure that I get locked down away from my family? Should I ensure that I get locked down away from a friend who is a current roommate? So my question, and this is a tough one, I think, and maybe
yes.
not a tough one, is how do we determine who we should be locked down with?
Okay, that's a great one. And I've been thinking about that. The first one is a kind of a health thing as I think about it. Anybody that has a compromised immune system, right? If you're afraid that you've been exposed, and all of us could have been, this thing is so nefarious and how easily, you want to cherish what I talk about, cherish and protect them, right? And I think you might want to cherish and protect yourself too. If someone who's been a huge risk taker the last 3 or 4 weeks and not caring about this thing, that might not be the best person to be locked down too. But I think what's really affecting relationships by this entire pandemic and this lockdown syndrome is I talk about attachment theory, which is basically the science of how your brain gets, a right to love and be loved, right? Well, one of the core central right for all people is a right, what I call to separate and belong. Not one or the other, which is what this thing is doing to us, right? It's to separate and belong. It's a Goldilocks zone. Now, when you think about it, it came online when you were like a little child, when you were a toddler and you got to go explore and you got to play with your toys and you wanted to be over there. But you also wanted mom in the same room. You wanted backup. So if your binky got lost in the blanket, mom would come over and help you find it, right? We have an innate need to go out and explore and have our self-time, but to come back to the home port of somebody's heart, right? To have that backup, that we know that that someone is calm and they can weather the storm with us. And singles are getting all right to separate. Oh my God, I'll never be able to meet that man, or I'm being alone. And for couples, it's a crucible of too much belonging. I mean, we call, the Marlboro Man is sort of, too much separation. And what we used to call codependency is what we call too much belonging. And I think the key thing here is to acknowledge that you want somebody that has a pretty balanced right, not too much separation. So, they're going to have your back. They're going to they're going to be there emotionally for you. They're going to be there instrumentally, as Wendy was saying, right?
Okay.
But also, you can have fun with too, right? That you can enjoy, who is someone that has good conversation, emotionally resonates. Find someone who can give you a home port in their heart and also will respect your need, because I think couples are going to need to negotiate. I need some separation time, and how do we navigate the fact that whatever was the rub in the relationship, that's almost like the raindrop torture test, where it keeps coming after us, and we're going to have to really negotiate inside this lockdown.
Right.
Time for couples to really have fun with each other, to listen to each other. And there's if it's all that and there's no separation, the system is not going to like it.
So just so that I understand, I hear that you're saying that there needs to be, they need to have calmness. So this is basically the litmus test for whether or not I should decide someone is in lockdown with me, right?
Yes.
It needs to be, they need to have a state of calm, right?
Yes.
Secondly is, or maybe not secondly, but next is someone who I can have fun with, right? Someone who I can enjoy their company. And then someone who's also going to allow me to take distance in a healthy way, right? Give me that space.
Exactly. I actually do believe couples need to sit down and say, how much, together time, how much self time do you need, and map it out. If someone says,
Gary, just on that, let's get into the discussion part of it. But just for that pecking order, you're saying those three though. That's
those three. That's right. You want someone that can be there and care for you, have fun with, and also give you a little separation time and honor that, because too much togetherness is too much togetherness.
Okay. All right. Good deal. And then I add on to that, because I can't cook, someone who can cook. Like, this is very important. Someone who could cook, especially if you could do rice, you could do some curried chicken. Like, that's very important for me. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to, Gary, I'm going to pull you off, and then I'm going to add all of our folks. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, I want you to drop all of your comments in to the commentary right now. So all of your questions, etc., that you have for Wendy, for Esther, for Gary, include all of those right now. We'll get as many answered as possible. Let me bring everybody back on. We got Wendy, we got Esther, we got Gary here. All right. So here we go. I want to start with, all right, so I see a bunch of questions here, mainly people endorsing the jerk chicken and curry chicken. That's very important. All right, so I want to start with this. This is what I would consider to be the most popular question that I received through IG. And I also read several articles written where experts were doing Q&As, and this seemed to be the most prevalent question. And that is, what do you do in this scenario, or what do you advise in this scenario where you feel as if you have a good relationship, however you determine good, but you feel like you have a good, solid relationship. However, you have not spent a significant or this amount of time with a significant other or a spouse, right? You just haven't done it. And you're just right now nervous about it, right? What are some things that we could be doing right now we're on the front end of the lockdown? What can we do to alleviate that stress within ourselves and to be able to structure what we hope will be a very healthy coexistence during lockdown? And this question is for everyone.
So one of the things that I borrow this line from Brene Brown is, I think, starting by saying to your partner, so the story I have in my head is, right? Like, the story I have in my head is that we're going to be fighting nonstop, or that when I need alone time, you're going to feel it's rejection, or that you're going to get sick of whatever it is that those fears are, put them on the table on the front end, so that when it sort of comes up, or when it kind of, because we have a natural tendency to act out some of our fears and our anxieties. So as much as we want to be intentional, sometimes it's going to spill out. If you've already mentioned it, you've already put it on the table, that sort of primes both of you for having more in-depth conversation if those things happen, so that you also get some reassurance from your partner, and which can be really helpful. You know, Gary was talking about attachment. There's different styles of it, like adult attachment styles, particularly if you tend to, you know, feel some anxiety about people pulling away from you. This is a good way to alleviate that, or give yourselves the best chance of catching it before it spirals into something that feels a little bit more out of control, or a little bit more challenging to manage.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, sir.
All right. All agree?
Oh yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
Okay. All right. Let's get into another one, because it's interesting. There are a lot of questions right now about being single, right? And so this one came from LinkedIn. This is my sister Naomi. She says, or asked, what can singles be doing during this time to connect in a meaningful way?
Well, what I can tell you what I've been telling my single friends, okay? And that is, you know, there's a lot of huggers out there. There's not a lot we can do about that. But I know that, you know, about 80% of our attachment signals come by seeing, tracking eyes and mouth. So get on FaceTime once or twice, you know, or LinkedIn or Zoom. Don't just text. Texts are like empty calories for our relationships. They don't really give us that much of a vibe. But I would say once or twice a day, get on with a good friend and get on Zoom, Skype, and make sure you can see each other. So at least it feels a little more like someone's in the room and not just someone on a phone. Just like we're doing here. Get off the texting and really have a chance to have more of that. And really do reach out for good friends who can be there for you. If you're separated and quarantined from your beloved, you know, make sure you spend extra time with each other and truly connect with them emotionally. Ask them, how are you doing today? You know, ask when you hear the least amount of fear, say, what's going on, baby? You know, those are the sort of things we need to do. Really track the feelings in each other.
The key there is
because my internet has been coming and going. So can you hear me okay and see me?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. You go blurry, but then right now, though, you're crisp.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm trying to angle the shot because my daughter wants to come out of her bedroom in her pajamas. So there. Now I'm not in the background. That's why we're texting a loved one in the next room.
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing going back to couples. And this is advice that I would give to parents regarding misbehaving kids, or whether we're talking about a significant other. You know, you got to spend some time catching them being good. If all you do, you know, I like to say, water what you want to grow, don't water the weeds. So you've got to learn to ignore all the things that are driving you crazy, and instead just focus on what you like about them, even the tiniest little thing. You know, if it's a kid that you're trying to get to put their clothes in the laundry basket, if they throw it on the floor and it's 6 inches closer, then you say, hey, you got closer to the laundry basket, and you give them a pat on the shoulder, right? And that's called behavioral shaping, right? And so the same thing with your intimate partners or anyone in your family. If you spend your day being irritated because you're in close quarters with all the things they're doing wrong, then you're watering the weeds, and that will grow. Instead, work hard inside yourself to ignore what you can't change, and instead catch them being good. And when you compliment them, make it genuine and include some physical touch.
Exactly.
All right. I like it. Let's go to Kim Crowder on Facebook. She asks this: for those who live alone, what are ideas of connecting regularly with ourselves and others? My mind, by the way, goes on this one. It goes right to the gutter, so I'm not going to say anything.
Well, I'm going to join you in the gutter, Paul. So I'm going to go there.
You go there, Esther. Thank you. You go there.
Because it is, and I mean, Wendy already started to talk about that. Like, we do, as human beings, we need physical touch. And so if you live alone, like, don't be shy, right? Like, it's your body. You should be able to touch that. And I don't just mean like in sexual ways, although I'm absolutely an advocate for, masturbation. That's important. For a lot of people, for self-care. I mean, being able to be comfortable with your own body, but also things like take a bath. Places are still delivering. Order a weighted blanket if you've never used one of those, or a body pillow. Take a little extra time doing things like self-massage, give yourself a manicure, pedicure. But I do try to advocate not just for couples, but also for singles to recognize, like, having tactile contact is important. And if you are alone and you're self-quarantined, being thoughtful about that, because you are in a position where you can't necessarily go out and hug your best friend or whatever that is. So thinking about what are other ways that you can get some self-soothing and some comfort that is actually tactile to your body.
All right. I like it. I like it. I'm an advocate for touching yourself as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Good advice. Good advice.
All right. So next question. This is for Wendy. Wendy, this is for you. This gentleman on LinkedIn.
Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
You guys are cutting in and out on my
Uh-oh.
Okay, well.
We can hear you. We can hear you. Let me pose this to everyone. Let me pose this to everyone. But Wendy, if you can hear me, this one's for you. The question is from LinkedIn.
Okay.
Imagine that you are in a couple and you're not getting along at the moment and you're stuck in this lockdown. What are 3 practical things they can do today to help to resolve the conflict?
Okay, I missed the first part of it, but you're talking about couples in lockdown and conflict resolution?
Yes, 3 things they can do today to resolve it.
Okay, the very first thing is, the first thing you need to do when you start a new day, if you've been having some conflict, is to create some game rules. Everybody needs rules of the game. Sometimes what we need to say is, when I get that heated, I do need to go in the other room and close the door. That isn't shutting you out. It's me recovering so that I can bring my higher self back to you. So everybody has to talk about what their rules are going to be before the conflict shows up. During the heat of the moment conflict, it's up to us to learn to self-regulate ourselves. In other words, it's not really our partner's job to calm us down, so to speak. It's up to us to stop ourselves, take a deep breath, feel your feet in the floor, like literally take 4 giant deep breaths to trigger your vagus nerve that will give you a relaxation effect. Breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 3, out for 7. If you do that 3 times, I promise you can't be yelling at anybody anymore. So you've got to self-regulate before you can come back to it. And then at another time, you've got to have strategies for problem solving. I want you to imagine that we're alive today because our ancestors were amazing survivors. The blood that courses through your veins is the blood of somebody who problem solved every single day, where to get food, how to keep kids alive, how to hide from predators. And this is what's inside us. So we need to go into our superhero position. We need to go into the higher thinking parts of our brain, and we need to think of this not as an emotional cascade where we are falling down into anxiety and depression. We need to think of this as the moment where our ancestors, like us, stepped up and solved a problem with their prefrontal cortex. And just having that framing of your conflict will help you a lot better.
No, I completely, I see 2 amens on that one. Let's keep it moving because a lot of questions are coming in. This one's for the entire panel. Can you give examples of how to have more fun together other than sex? Jerry, why do you want any other to have fun together? I don't understand. But other than having sex and other than TV or having sex while watching TV, what are other ways to have fun together?
So I'm a big advocate for sharing things that you already enjoy doing. But obviously you're going to have to talk to each other about that. So like, I love to cook. Like, to me, that cooking with somebody that would be fun. Somebody who doesn't enjoy cooking may not find that to be fun. So I think part of it is also sharing, just having conversation. What are things that you would enjoy doing either on your own, or maybe typically you would do with friends, and sharing that with the person, with your partner that you're at home with. I mean, everything. Board games, go for a walk, build a blanket fort. That's not just for kids. It could be fun.
I love it. Yes.
All right. All right. Let me drop this one in. This is Benita Jackson. So this one is interesting because she says she's in New York. She's locked down with the rest of the city, but she has older parents who are in another state. Her father is not following the guidelines of social distancing, and she's concerned how this may affect her mother and other family members who live together. Here's the question. What conversation would you suggest around this? How could this be approached effectively? And I think this is a good one because I think we all have friends and family who are just not taking this as serious as it needs to be. So what's the conversation we need to be having with them to convince them of the seriousness of this?
Can I answer that, Paul?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so I want to say that you have to start from a place of love, right? And so the conversation with him should be something like, I love you, Dad, and I want to keep you around. I also love Mom, and I want to find a way to protect her. I'm feeling a lot of fear and anxiety about you leaving the house. How is a great question because it makes people problem solve. How can you help relieve my anxiety? How can you protect Mom better? So instead of, you need to do this and you need to realize the news, how about how can you help our family solve this problem? Now, I do want to say though, these are life and death circumstances. These are times where we can have very clear boundaries. For instance, my college student came home a couple of weeks ago for spring break with 8 other college students from different parts of the country. They were supposed to stay for a week, but by the second day, I was like, they all need to go. And then she was still wanting to have sort of group hangouts out at the beach with these college students. And I just clearly said to her, if you cannot self-quarantine to protect me for 2 weeks, then you are not welcome in my home. And she got it. She hasn't left the house since. I wish she'd go out.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I guess your tone, that was very important too. Because I think Wendy, you probably leaned in and gave a little, yeah.
You can't expect me out.
Yeah. And I'd like to just add, what we're really saying here is there's 3 ways when people make bids for attention or support, there's 3 ways people can respond to that. We can turn toward that bid and say, yes, I get that. I get that's important to you. It may not be important to me, but it is to you. And I cherish and protect that. When we have to monitor that versus when we turn against or we turn away from somebody, we just ignore their need, or in that case, that's a little bit of a turn against. I just want to go do my own thing. And I think we've got to, in all of our relationships, we've got to be more conscious in a quarantine situation and with this pandemic of how well do we turn toward the safety issues that all of us have. It's one thing saying, well, I don't want to have fun at the moment. But it's another one to say, I'm going to take a risk with your life. We should be turning toward both, but we've got to learn to cherish and protect each other in ways that we may not have normally been thinking of it. So cherish is the word, to use an old song.
Yeah, I love it. Wait, cherish is the word. Who's that? Who's that?
It was an old song from Cherish is the word. It's a long song. It's an old song, karaoke song.
Oh, karaoke song. Okay, so Jill will love that one. That's fair. That's fair. So I see a dear friend of mine, Genevieve, who is here in the UK. She mentioned something. We were on a chat earlier, and she mentioned something about the importance of resilience at this time. And I'm wondering from the panel, what are things that we can do to build up our mental resilience, right? Because what I find to be interesting about this time is that, when I think the pandemic hit, I never heard anyone in the government talk about building up your immune system, right? It was all about, well, anyway, I don't want to get into the politics and how I hate Donald Trump, but that's all I heard, right? That was all I heard. Then the second part to this is then there was this whole idea of fear, right? Fear setting in. And I didn't hear enough conversation or much conversation at all around how we can build up our mental resilience, right, to the fear. What can we be doing? Just like we're building up our immune system. And so my friend Genevieve mentioned this earlier, and I'm wondering, what are your suggestions of things that we can do starting today to build up our mental resilience?
So I'm always a big advocate, first and foremost, of like, we have to feel the feeling. And I think oftentimes what gets in the way of, it's hard to build resilience around fear or anxiety if we are compartmentalizing, or we're stuffing it, or we are, literally like dissociating from that experience. We need to feel it. And then I think secondly, which is part of the challenge right now, is not being in physical contact with a lot of people, is we do need support around that. So like, I love that you were in a chat and you're talking with somebody and you guys are talking about resilience. And I think for people to understand, it's okay to talk about our fears and anxieties, and it's okay to set some boundaries around how much other people are sharing. But feeling the feeling allows you to kind of recognize like, oh, what is it that I'm fearful of, right? I had a really good conversation with a couple of friends where what we realized is that for most of us, we weren't so much afraid of getting sick or getting the virus. For some people, it was being really fearful of being the person who got someone else sick, right? The impact on other people. And for other people, it was about, the economic impact of the social distancing, the self-quarantine. And as we begin to understand where our feelings are coming from, then we can start to seek out support. And I think having social support is big for building resilience. And obviously there's other internal things that we can be doing as well.
Yeah. One of the things I'm doing is, all of us will face our worst fears. There's times I think I don't want to look at what's going on with my 401k, right? Or how much toilet paper is in the garage, right? Don't look. And I learned something a long time. It was called an anxiety fix, where twice a day, if I can think of it, maybe 2 or 3, I visualize what my life is going to be like after I have successfully gone through this, after things are on an upsurge, and I give my brain a hit of a positive future. And you just got to make sure that you can, when you have those moments, it's a discipline for me to remember, hey, I've survived worse. And it got better afterwards. And I positively make mental images a couple times a day to reassure that scared part of my brain that I've gone through it before, I've got the skills, and it's going to happen again. And I visualize that. And it's not just visualization, you got to feel it in your guts, right? And just visualize any time that you've gone through and come out better, and really take the time to think 15 minutes after you realize, man, I survived this, it's over and I'm good.
Yeah, I love it. I love that, Gary. I love that.
Can I also add, Paul, that resiliency is something that only comes through stress, right? You don't build resiliency by having an easy gliding life, right? So we're actually doing the work of becoming resilient now. And I want to tell you a little story. During the last Great Depression in 2008, 2009, I was a single mother with 2 small children, one still on the breast. I had no job. I just finished a PhD. It was just a really stressful financial time. And I called a girlfriend of mine who was 15 years older, who I really thought of as a business mentor. And she had founded a company that she took public and eventually sold it and made oodles of money. But at this time, I called her and said, and I was filled with anxiety, just saying, oh my God, we're going to lose our house. We're going to have to move into a studio apartment. We're doing this and that. And you know what she said? She said, oh, don't worry. This happens every 10 years. And once you get on the other side, everything's going to be fine. And the way she said it happens every 10 years to me triggered, oh, this is a normal part of life. It comes every 10. By the way, we're about 10 years later now, folks. So what happens is that throughout life, if you look at those that are older and wiser, we all know that life goes in ebbs and flows. And here's my prediction for anybody listening. I noticed that there are no new viruses for 4 days straight in Wuhan now. This marks 4 months after their first diagnosis. So transpose that onto our calendar, we're looking at August. So by August, most of the virus, I believe, will be taken care of in this country, and I think the economy will come back around Christmas. So hold that in your thoughts, and in the meantime, do not log on to your bank, don't look at any of your accounts, don't even care. Rack up our debt. I'm hoping that the government is going to put a freeze on all credit card interest for at least 90 days. So just hunker down, stay still, don't worry about money. Everything will work itself out.
Yeah, that's positive. That's positive. I see that there are way too many questions that we can get addressed in the next 5 minutes. But there is a recurring theme that this one question from LinkedIn makes a whole lot of, I think it's a good summary question. And that is this, you have to follow me on this. This gentleman says, I'm used to picking battles with my wife, like not arguing with small stuff, right? It could be the placement of furniture or what to do with the kids, what they're eating, etc. However, since I've been locked down, I find myself more invested in the little battles. Is it wrong for me to go back to ignoring the little stuff, or should I be invested in the little stuff? And the reason why I like this question is because I think what's happening with so many people spending more time with each other is they're really learning to communicate with each other. They're learning how to argue. They're learning how to discuss. So what's your advice to him? But then also, what are maybe 2 or 3 practical things we can do to strengthen the communication that we have with loved ones in such close proximity? And anyone on this one.
I would like to say that every time I've seen couples get into stress, there is more emphasis on the I than the we. And I think the first great move, if you're in a relationship and you're locked down and you're looking at those little things, there's more I than we. What if, now there are patterns that bother all of us in relationships. And I think the first winning move for any couple is to make the pattern the problem and not the partner. I think that's an enormous place where we take pressure off of each other and say, and for both of you to become teammates, looking at the pattern, you are honest, say, this is a pattern I see. You left a tea bag on the counter for the 150th time, and I'm seeing it all the time, or whatever it is. And to stop blaming each other and say, there's a pattern. How do we, as a team, with much care, as Wendy was saying, right? And maybe add a little fun to it, as Esther was saying. But to stop thinking just in terms of 2 me's and really have a we, because a couple without a we is a couple with a war. And it's the lack of we-ness, partnership, and make that pattern the problem and become a team against it. And then I think that can turn around.
Yeah.
So
Esther, Wendy?
I definitely agree with everything that Gary just said. I think the thing I would also add is back to my point earlier about being a little bit self-reflective is the less control we feel like we have over life in general, the more we look for places to have control. And so where the furniture is placed feels very irrelevant when you feel like you have a lot of authority or power over your finances and your career and all of these things. We're all living in a time where we feel particularly helpless. And so those things, in addition to just being in close quarters, there's also another tendency on our sort of on a human level to want to look for, well, where can I exert some sense of control and power? And so being mindful of that. And I think this also ties back into the resiliency is one of the things I've started doing. And this works with I have a daughter who's in college. She's home too. So we were just talking about this is when you're in that space and it feels like you want to pick a fight about these little things, or you're not sure how to have a conversation, is every day I try to ask myself, what's one small thing that I can do to make things better? And then you can kind of do that in layers. So what's one small thing I can be doing to positively impact my community or the world, like these bigger issues, but also like, what's one small thing I can do for my partner? And sometimes that answer is let it go, or be kinder, or as Gary said, focus on the we as opposed to blaming somebody for leaving their tea bag out all the time or whatever it is. Looking for looking for opportunities to solve problems is going to help us to feel a little bit more in control of our lives. And that's always helpful.
Yeah. There you go. Wendy, anything on that?
Yeah, one bit of advice I always give couples whenever there's conflict is make sure that you express it using a communication sandwich. And a communication sandwich sounds like this. It starts out with a layer of love. It's followed by a layer of something that's a little hard to chew on. And it's backed up quickly with another layer of love. So it might sound like, honey, I love how cool as a cucumber you're being through this, and it is amazing what a calming influence you normally are. However, I notice that when the kids are getting upset and late in the day, you seem to lose it and become less helpful. Is there any way that you can get back to the person that I see on the other times of the day? Because I love you so much and I want us to find a way to be together happily.
Wow. Wendy, let me tell you, Jill has left the room. I'm gonna say, Jill, you're the most lovely person I've ever met. You are an incredible mother. Why don't you want to have another child with me? And then I'm going to end it with, because I think 5 of us would be so much more beautiful than 4. Something like that. Would that work?
That's good.
And then it is your job to listen to her answer of the why. Because I'm sure she has some very good reasons that you might be able to calm some of her fears by taking on some of the workload, whether it's child raising work or financial stress work. Because that's really what it's about, right? Time and money.
There it is. That's it. That's it. Well, I tell you what.
Keep it positive is the message. Keep it positive.
I love it. I will never forget that love sandwich ever. This has been awesome. Jabril Ahmed on LinkedIn just said, this has been the most informative session. Thank you very much, everyone. There's lots of thank yous around the room. I'd love to keep it going, but I want to respect everybody's time. So thank you very much. Everyone who's watching, please, round of applause, give up a big thanks to Wendy, to Esther, to Gary, and what I want to do with regard to how we can support you all, right? Wendy, Esther, Gary, for giving us your time. What I'll do is I'm going to pull you on the screen just one by one to say our goodbyes. And I would love for you to tell us, A, how we can reach out to you. So where can we go to contact you, social handles, that kind of thing. And then secondly, if there's anything that you're doing, I know you all have podcasts and different projects that we can support, let us know, because I know that we will all support you. So what I'll do is, Gary, since I brought you on last, I'll just have it for the 2 of us. So Dr. Gary Salyer, thank you very much. How can we reach you and how can we support you?
Well, you can reach me at Dr. Gary at GarySalyer.com or just go to GarySalyer.com, Salyer. And there's 2 things I can help. There's a beautiful series of little 2 short-minute videos that help support singles and couples, and they're delivered. That would be a great way. And if you really need more help, you can always reach out. I have these 1 hour live. I'm calling them now quarantine love map sessions. Okay. Where we really get down and find out what is the pattern and how can you and your beloved, or if you're single, get through this time and to really make it a time of growth versus fear and retraction.
Yeah, and Gary, how can we attend the quarantine love map sessions?
You just have those are one-on-ones, so you just reach out. Those are just reach out. You can email me through my website, right? Okay. Yeah. All right.
Super. And so everyone, that's how we reach Gary. So if we want those love map sessions, we can just reach directly out to you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's cool videos. It's all through the website. Yeah. Quarantine love map sessions. It's a new one. It's a new product. It's a new thing.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's very catchy. Very catchy. Yeah. Well, Gary, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Continue to inform us. Continue to stay safe. And I will talk to you very soon. By the way, I have to say this though, Gary. There are 2 folks here from Jamaica who have your book and think your book is amazing. And I just underscore from Jamaica because they let me know they're from Jamaica and they have your book. So I just wanted to mention that. But Gary, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. It's always a blessing to be spend any time with you, my friend.
Oh yeah. All right. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Exactly.
Right. So that is Gary. Everybody say goodbye to Gary. Goodbye to Gary. All right. So now we're going to bring on Esther. We've got Esther. We're saying goodbye. So, this is I'm sorry. Let me pull up. This is great. Thanks, Tony, for doing that. That's Gary's website there, so you can get in contact with Gary. If someone, maybe Tony, someone else could jump in there and help me out and make sure that they include the URLs for everybody, and I'll pull that up. So, Esther, how can we reach you? How can we support you?
So the easiest way to reach me is probably Instagram, but all like every social media platform except Snapchat. I feel like I'm too old to be on Snapchat.
Are you on TikTok?
I'm not on TikTok.
Okay.
I don't really have Jill's like camera presence. So, I leave it to the pros.
Okay.
But you can find me Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. except for TikTok and Snapchat, at Esther B MFT. So it's ESTHER B MFT. This upcoming Friday, I am hosting a webinar online at 6 p.m. Eastern this Friday called Couples in Close Quarters. So some of the stuff I just talked about, but it's all going to be about basically how do you manage like living with somebody during this time. I will be also offering over the next couple of weeks, one for families, talking about how to manage parents, as well as one for singles, like living on your own and managing that. Definitely follow me. That's the easiest way because all of those things are sort of slowly being scheduled. So they're like rolling out. And I do offer, I have therapy sessions available. We offer teletherapy through my practice. If anybody is interested in working with me or I have a dozen associates. They're amazing. Not only do we work with adults, we work with families and kids and couples. We're doing everything online right now. And you can find that at grouptherapyassociates.com.
Good deal. Good deal. Thank you very much, Esther. Always good to see you.
Always good to see you.
And I know we're going to do a couple lives too, or at least one live.
Yeah, we're going to do that. And maybe don't give Jill a hard time about this baby. I feel like I need to call you later.
I won't talk much about it.
Okay.
All right. But Esther, thank you very much. Everybody say
bye, everybody.
All right. So then last but not least, we've got my sis all the way from California. Wendy, thank you very much. How do we reach out?
Thank you.
How do we support?
Okay, so my handle everywhere is Dr. Wendy Walsh, just DR, no period, Dr. Wendy Walsh, and that's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. But what I really want to tell everybody about is my passion project that I've been doing for the last year. We launched on Valentine's Day, so we're coming up on a year, or we just did a year, is a podcast called Mating Matters, MATING Matters, Mating Matters. And it is geeky and sexy and fun. It looks at all human behavior through a lens of evolutionary psychology, because I believe we are wired to reproduce. That's why we're here, to reproduce. And every other human behavior that we have is somehow designed to increase our reproductive fitness, either to attract mates or repel mates that we don't want, etc. And I encourage you, when you find Mating Matters, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio app, wherever you get your podcasts, you'll find it. It's called Mating Matters. Go to the earliest episodes. Start with the first one called Hidden Eggs. Hidden Eggs, by the way, is just as a little tease, is about the reason why we're the only primate that has concealed fertility, meaning 3 days of the month where men can't tell that a woman is fertile, and she may not even know herself. But yet, men have evolved to figure out all kinds of ways to tell when she's ovulating. And women behave very differently when they're ovulating. So it's a really great listen. It's filled with lots of sound and interviews with scientists, as well as everyday people who bring the science to life. So it's called Mating Matters.
Mating Matters. I'll tell you what, I see a lot of comments saying, oh, I'm going to check that out. Oh, this sounds interesting. Wow. Yeah, definitely. LinkedIn loves it as well. Well, good stuff. Wendy, thank you very much. It is an honor. Stay safe out there. Stay sane with your daughter in there, because I know. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to see you, Paul.
All right, good to see you. All right, everybody say goodbye to Wendy. All right, so folks, thank you very much for another phenomenal session here. Just a couple quick recaps for everybody. One, please support all of our guests. Our guests come on here, pro bono, to give you an hour's worth of their time. I always say follow up with them, because I'm really bringing on the best people that I know on these specific topics. And Wendy, Gary, and Esther are people who I highly respect. So definitely follow them. Definitely check out all of the projects that they're a part of. That's one. Secondly is, I really love what I saw today with regard to the hashtag Let's Connect. I saw a lot of people connecting. Right now, you can continue to include expertise. So let me put this banner back up. If you are looking to grow your social circle, if you want to connect with someone, you can include that in comments now, because most people will watch this on the replay. So they'll go through those comments and they'll see the expertise that you're looking for, and they'll try to connect with you. I think it's just beautiful to see all of that. So I want to continue to do that, right? And then the last thing I want to say is we're now a family, and you're stuck with me. So I'm going to be here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, always running late by probably 15 minutes. But we're going to talk about the topics that you want to talk about. And I want to include you. So a lot of you have been messaging me to say, hey, Paul, I could talk about this. I could talk about that, right? Please continue to do that, because I want to bring you all on. And I think this is an opportunity to showcase what you do and what you're experts at as well. So if you have ideas and themes that you believe everyone is interested in, with, especially now being locked down, send those to me and I will do my best to include you. Other than that, let me say goodbye to some of my peeps here. All right, Naomi, I see you. Christine Chen in California, I see you, sis. Thanks for tuning in. Mohammed, I see you. Tamar, I see you, sis. O'Neill Richards, thank you very much. He said he appreciates everything. Daphne Posner, Daphne Britter, Betty Serkey, PhD, I love it. Kayleen on LinkedIn, thank you very much. Jerry, Cassandra, I see you. Ryan, Kim Crowder, Nadia Trey, thank you very much. Accountant Savvy, there you go on Periscope. Good stuff. So thank you very much. Casey, my man Casey, I see you. Everybody stay safe, stay informed, and together we will get through this. I'll see you all on Friday, 12 noon for another session. Wish you all the best. Take care. Peace.